I just played two of the best poker sessions of my life, and I'm bringing all of you along with me to experience the absolute sun run of a lifetime. Aces, kings, big pots, massive profits, and an ending you have to see to believe. We're playing 10-25 high stakes here on the Texas Card House live stream in Dallas, Texas, and I'm jumping right into hand number one with $10,000 on the table and a goal to run it up big. Well, our $10,000 quickly dwindled down to under $5K. I ended up losing the knit game, which was $100 a person, so I put $800 in the middle and we're playing a splash pot. I look down at Queen 3 of hearts here from the cutoff. Mick opens it up to 125 and I want to get my $800 back, so I decide to 3-bet him here to $350. We're gonna get called by Lucas and Mick, going three ways to a flop, which comes Gin, Queen, 7-3, bang, I flop top and bottom pair. When the action checks over to me, of course, I'm gonna go for a C-bet, and with $1,800 in the middle, I decide that the price is $550. My buddy Lucas rips it all in, actions back over to me, and he has me covered. That means it's $4,300 effective. Well, Lucas, these days I only run things one time, so you're gonna need to hit a diamond or a 5 with the last two cards. The turn comes the deuce of spades, and the river is an inconsequential jack of hearts. And just like that, we're back to even on the session, and I have a word for all of you guys watching.
Let that be a lesson to everyone watching. You don't have to get bullied into playing hands. Wait till you win it back.
Just like that, bro.
Just like that. Never be someone you're not. Play your game out there.
In any other state in the country, a 28% VPIP wouldn't be that bad, but we're in Texas, so I gotta get that up for you guys. Well, in this next hand here, we're gonna get active with Ace-King offsuit from the straddle. I put the $50 out there, and Slick Rick, my good buddy, he makes it $150, and Zach puts in the call. Of course, I'm gonna have to find a 3-bet here, and I go large for $700, and both players put in the call. So just like that, we are playing a $2,000 pot off to a flop, which comes queen high on a queen 5-4 board. I debate starting with the check, but ultimately decide to represent pocket queens, ace queen, kings, and aces, and start with the exact same bet for $700. Both players fold, and we're gonna win that hand, but don't worry, I look down at the very same holding in this next one, Ace-King offsuit once again. This time I'm in the big blind. Lucas makes it $300 to go, and our good buddy Randy 3Coin makes an appearance on the vlog for the first time with a cold call for $300. $300 to me, that's just not gonna cut it. I know Lucas and 3Coin have some money in their bank accounts, and I want to extract the maximum. I make it $1,500 to go. Lucas puts in the call, but Randy folds. Unfortunately, we're just going heads up to a flop, but the board comes great for us. Ace, Jack, 7, rainbow. With $3,400 in the middle, I go less than 1/3 for $1,000, just trying to milk my opponent. He thinks about it for a long time. What does he have? Pocket queens. And then he ends up showing Zach in seat number 1 and folds. How does he fold there for $1,000? Maybe it's because I'm only playing 28% of my hands, but I'm not complaining in the slightest, up $2,700 through hand number 70. All right, let's show the table how to play 8-9 of diamonds from under the gun. I start with a limp, and Slick Rick does as well. Actions on Zach in seat 1, he makes it $500 to go. When the action's back over to me, I could just call with a suited connector, or I could go for the tricky limp re-raise. Usually that's a play only done by people over the age of 60, but I'm gonna go for the limp raise to $1,500, gets rid of Slick Rick, and Zach puts in the call. We're gonna take him off to a flop and hopefully take this one down, and the board comes ace 4-3 rainbow. Should be a good board for my range. I go for a C-bet, and as you can see, he is forced to fold a better hand, king jack of spades, 3/5 of a royal flush, and I windmill my 9 high for the table to see. So you see, you guys, sometimes you just have to play your opponent, and sometimes you can just play your cards, and that's exactly what happens here. I have pocket kings, and no skill required. JD opens it up to 150, and I'm gonna 3-bet him to $550. Well, actions on 3Coin, and what does he do? He puts in the cheeky 4-bet to $1,000. It's a Euro Reg online min click to $1,000, and I'm thinking about about my options here. I could either just call and lead Randy down a line where I just call him on all the low boards, or I could 5-bet him here because we're playing $11,000 effective, and let's just try to get stacks in by the river. I put in the 5-bet, and Randy does not hesitate for a second before finding the call, and the flop comes gin, you guys. King, 5-4, bang, we flop top set and the nuts. What's better than that is the actions on Randy, and he doesn't check it over to me. He bets out for $1,000, and there's nothing for me to do other than just call. The turn comes a 7 of clubs, and it looks like Randy likes this card.
And oh my god,
oh dear.
If there
3
was
coins can pick up equity on the turn.
easy.
Randy, what the fuck?
Yeah, quick tip of advice for you guys. Anytime your opponent in the hand stands up and knocks over a table and starts dancing, it's safe to say they like that turn card. So when he fires out here again for $3,000, of course, I'm an influencer. I'm not going to miss a great opportunity to catch Randy in the moment.
I tell you what, I'm wrecking this place. Stack and stack, boom!
Let's go the speed limit here.
But then I'm just gonna put in the call once again, letting Randy know, let's just play the speed limit here. I'm not trying to take all of your chips. The river comes the 7 of spades, pairing the board and giving me a full house in case Randy had a random 3-6 or 6-8. Well, now we have a full house and are not worried about anything except my favorite hand, pocket 7s. So at the end of the day, I'm obviously getting a great piece of content flopping top set, and I really just don't want to take the remaining $6,000 in his stack. I'm happy with it right here. I'm winning on this session. Just check it over to me, Randy, and I'll toss in a 1K chip so people know that we're not colluding, but that's not what he does. He rips his entire stack in the middle, and of course, I have to snap him off, and just like that, we are playing a $24,000 pot, you guys, and he has a 6 of spades, which obviously is no match for my pocket kings. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever played in a poker game before where you just feel bad with winning a massive pot, you're happy with how big it is already, and you really like your opponent. That happened here. I was willing to play a smaller one, but Randy was trying to get me off of my hand, going for the bluff with ace high in the missed straight draw, and because he got greedy, he's gonna get felted. Alright, for the rest of the video, I promised to play no friends at the poker table, and this hand is example number 1. Bobby's a good friend at the table. I've played in his private game in Fort Worth in his garage, an awesome spot you might have seen on some shorts, and he makes it $150 to go. I 3-bet him to $550 with the parking lot hand, ace queen offsuit. Bobby puts in the call, and we're off to a flop. The flop comes gin, ace 7-3 with 2 hearts, and of course, I'm gonna go for a Cinco de Mayo bet here, $550. Bobby immediately raises me up to $1,500. Are my opponents getting greedy once again, or does he have a set of 3s, 7s, ace 3, or ace 7? Well, I look over at his stack, he only has around 3,300 total, so I grab a bunch of big chips, toss them in the middle, and Bobby snaps me off with ace 10 of diamonds. What a great cooler for me, $7,700 in the middle, and the turn and river are bricks. I mean, come on, you guys. This is a dream session. I bought in for $10,000. I have 30 grand in my stack. And look at this. We call with pocket 6s over a Zach open and flop middle set on a queen 7-6 board. Bang! Middle set, and the dream session continues. $600 in the middle, and Zach has top pair. I check it over to him, and he goes for a C-bet. I immediately raise him up to $900, and with $2,400 in the middle, the turn comes the 8 of clubs. Action's on me, and it's time to go for another bet. $1,800 seems appropriate, and Zach agrees when he finds the call, and the river comes a brick. It's the deuce of clubs. There's $6,000 in the middle, and Zach has $13,000 in his stack. I obviously can't rip it in for a double pot over bet shove, so the second best option is to go for $5,500. Polarizing and making him think that I have a busted diamond draw. He thinks about it for a really long time and ends up showing me a card. Obviously, I know I'm good. I'm hoping for a call, but then he does the impossible and folds top pair, so I lose out on another $5,500. Great fold from Zach there, identifying that I probably have a better hand more often than a busted diamond draw, but we're taking down the last hand of the night out for $34,905, so a profit in the first session of nearly $25,000. But it's not over. I come back 2 Tuesdays later and buy in for $5,000 on the very same stream. We get after it right away with ace jack of diamonds. I open it up to 125 and Slick Rick 3-bets me to $400. I put in the call and the flop comes 10-7-5 rainbow. The action goes check check on the flop and the turn comes the 8 of spades. I check it over to Eric once again and you're probably wondering why this hand made the cut. Well, Eric goes for a $500 delayed c-bet like I'd expect him to do with all of his overpairs, top pair, and also ace queen, ace king. What you probably didn't expect me to do here is check raise Slick Rick and put his hand to the test. I'm trying to get a lot of his marginally better hands to fold, but it's not going to work on the turn when he puts in the call, but I chose this exact holding because I can spike a 9 on the river, giving me the jack high straight, but the river is a brick. It's the 3 of hearts, and now I'm left with my hand caught in the cookie jar. What do I do here with just ace high? I didn't check raise him on the turn, representing all the 2 pairs, sets, and straights just to give up on the river. Eric is a great thinking player, and I don't know how often he thinks I'm gonna go for this bluff, so I rip it all in for nearly $3,500, putting him to the test. Let's finally expose what 2 cards Eric has. Does he have a monster? Yes, he does, you guys. Pocket kings. I chose to go for the bluff against a great opponent with a great holding, but now let's see what he does. Bang! He folds his hand. I get it through. I have $7,500 in my stack now in Profitsville, and better than that, I can check it off my bucket list saying I bluffed Slick Rick. And it gets better, you guys. I pick up pocket aces in the very next hand, and I raise it up to $300 pre-flop from the button. I get 2 callers, and the flop comes king deuce deuce, and which I go for a $450 c-bet and take it down. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any extra value, but don't worry, that's not the last time we look down at pocket aces in this session. I can promise you that. We're up 3 grand, feeling great on the session, and Big Oil opens up the cutoff to $300. I'm in the big blind. I should probably raise this up to $1,200 to $1,500, considering I'll be out of position the rest of the way, but that's not what I decide to do. Sometimes in these big games, I like to play tricky against my opponents who are thinking players, and I'm gonna call here with the top of my range. That's gonna bring in Carlos as well, and look at this, you guys. The flop comes our way. Ace, king, 9, bang! We flop top 2 pair, and we also have the backdoor nut flush draw being hearts. So great spot to be in. Action checks over to Big Oil, who takes the bait and bets out for $700, saying, hey guys, I can have the aces, kings, and ace king. You guys can really only have king 9, ace 9, and pocket 9s, but little does he know I'm laying in the weeds and put in the call. We lose Carlos's king queen offsuit, and the turn comes the 8 of spades. I check it over to my opponent once again with $2,300 in the middle. He snap jams for $4,700. What is life right now? Obviously, I'm calling with 2 pair here. I can never be folding, but it's like a double pot size overbet jam, and I just pause for a second to ask the dealer how much it is before ultimately putting in the call. Of course, sometimes he's gonna have the dreaded aces or kings, but ace king suited is gonna be crushing a lot of his other holdings, so I'm feeling pretty great in this nearly $12,000 pot, especially when the turn and river come bricks, and he ends up folding 10 deuce. The Doyle Brunson here in Texas, who was trying to honor the man, but little did he know that I had 2 pair calling pre-flop. What am I doing? What a fish. But not even a fish could play this hand bad. Pocket kings, I make it $125 to go. What is life right now? Esky 3-bets me to $450. Actions back over to me. Esky's a great player. I'd classify him as tight aggressive, a tag. So we're gonna 4-bet him to $1,250. He's in position, finds the call, and we're playing a nice size pot here, $2,600 with pocket kings. What can go wrong? Well, it would take a lot of random stuff to happen on this 7-7 deuce board for me to feel uncomfortable. Quick little fun fact, 773 is my area code. I was born in Chicago. I got my phone number there, and I haven't changed it since. So shout out to everyone watching from Chicago. Yeah, $555 is the wager I'm going for here, and Esky finds the call. The turn out comes the queen of spades, and I have the king of spades in my hand. I'm not really hating anything here. Of course, if he has pocket queens, that would be gross, but with only $2,600 in his stack, we're just gonna have to pay him off. I'm thinking about how to get stacks in the middle. If he has a hand like pocket 10s, pocket 9s, pocket jacks, maybe a check here and a shove on the river would confuse him, and and that's what I decide to do. He checks behind, the river comes a board pairing queen of hearts. I rip it in for $26.50, and he finds the call, $9,000 coming my way when AKhh had Brad Owen's favorite hand, pocket jiggities. Through 50 hands, we're up over $12,000, you guys. In for 5K, have 17K in my stack. How can it get any better? Oh, remember a few hands ago when I told you guys that's not the last time we're looking down at pocket aces? We pick it up once again, and we're high on life. What's even more hilarious is I'm still stacking my opponent AKhh's chips in front of me when I have pocket aces. Spooky makes it $175 to go, and I take some of AKhh's chips, throw them in the middle, $500. But what's that? Big Oil decides he's not done with trying to get chips from my stack into his. He puts in the cold call for $500, and Spooky takes a patented move straight out of my playbook.
Yep, we're putting a little toast in there and everything. And he even did the choo-choo.
It's 21-25 to call. Action's on me, and obviously I'm putting money in the middle, but I look over at Big Oil, who has around $8,500 in his stack, and now I have to decide how strong is he when he just calls my $500 bet instead of re-raising me. I don't think he's that strong, so if I have any hope of him putting more money in the middle, I probably should just call the 21-25 instead of raising it to like 4 or 5 grand. Well, that's what I decided to do, you guys, and Big Oil puts in the call. Look at that, $6,500 in the middle, off to a flop 3 ways with Spooky already all in. The flop comes 10-10-9, which means I'm either way ahead or I'm way behind a hand like pocket 9s, 10-9, or any combination of 10x. Big Oil checks and I check behind, bringing in the 8 of spades, connecting the board a little bit further. Big Oil checks it again to me, and I'm not going to check behind now. I'm going to go for some value and fire out for $2,000, to which he says, yes sir. He puts in the call, and now we have $4,000 on the side. The river comes the 9 of hearts, putting 2 pairs on board. Really interesting spot here when he checks it over to me with less than $5,000 in his stack. There's over $10,000 to play for. I could rip it all in here, but there's only $4,000 in the side pot, so it would be an overbet for him to call. I'm thinking about it back and forth between checking behind and going for value. What I really don't want to happen is I go for value and he calls me with a better hand. I mean, he could be playing it tricky with a 10, a 9, maybe pocket 8s for a full house.
Your opponent never checks a better hand, right? Don't they always go all in? It feels like you have to go for it, but like, can they call with worse?
I ultimately decide to check behind here, taking my aces to showdown. I'm happy with 10.4K, and that's exactly what I'm gonna get when Spooky has ace king of spades and Big Oil has the hand of the wolf. Pocket 7s calls me with a pair and an open-ended straight draw on the turn. I kind of think I won the maximum here because there's no way Big Oil finds the call for $5,000 on the river with his counterfeit 2 pair. Well, I had a ton of chips in front of me in that last hand from AKhh, and now the problem gets even better when I have 2 other opponents' chips in front of me, and I'm ready to stack them up. Over $18,000 in profit already through 50 hands, and I'm just hoping that this sun run continues. Well, it looks like it is. Hopefully no coolers here. I make it $125 to go with pocket kings, and Carlos puts in the call. Slick Rick says, hey guys, don't forget about me. On the button, he 3-bets to $600. Muskie in the straddle now rips it all in for $2,100. I mean, AI is good, you guys, but this, I promise, is a real video from a real session. I'm up $18,000, and we got a 3-bet to $600 and a 4-bet all in, and I'm looking down at pocket kings. What do you guys do here? Well, I could either put more chips in the middle with a 5-bet, or I could just call here and try to play tricky against Slick Rick, who, remember, put in the 3-bet earlier in this hand. And yeah, if I just call here, it looks strong, but it also looks kind of capped.
Wolfgang is that man. He wants more money. He's going to make the call.
And you better believe Slick Rick is picking up on all of these things, and I might be able to get the maximum in this hand later on. He decides to put in the call, not ripping it all in with a 5-bet. Of course, I was snapping that off, and we would have played a massive $40,000 pot, but instead we're taking it to the streets on a 10-9-5 rainbow board. FYI, there's no side pot just yet, and I decide to start with a check, and Slick Rick checks behind. The turn comes the 3 of spades, and I decide to check it over to him once again. I'm obviously going to call any bet, but I decide against an aggressive opponent to let him do the betting, and unfortunately he checks behind. So we're off to the river, you guys, which brings in the backdoor spade draw with the deuce of spades. $6,300 in the middle, and after Slick Rick has suspiciously not bet the flop or turn, that might mean he has some showdown value and will call a small bet here with some sort of pocket pair or a flopped pair as well. So I fire out for $2,000, just trying to get a little bit milky here with pocket kings in a dry side pot. And Slick Rick isn't folding, so I'm obviously loving this, but his complexion doesn't change. You're ever looking at an opponent and you can just tell they're still very focused on the hand? They're not giving anything away. Usually that means they're going to put more chips in the middle, and sure enough, my heart goes into my stomach. He now re-raises me to $8,800, putting me to the test. While I didn't play this hand in this manner to fold to a raise on the river, I've been saying how good Eric is, and he is capable of finding a bluff here. Also, I have the king of spades in my hand, blocking a lot of flushes, so I think he's going to turn some hands with the ace of spades in it into a bluff, and I put in the call expecting to be good, but that is not what happens. He turns over ace queen of spades for the rivered nuts. I let him get there, and I'm feeling like a failure. $24,000 is going his way. If I would have just 5-bet pre-flop or perhaps bet on the flop, man, we could have just taken this one down. I later asked Slick Rick what he would have done versus a flop bet, and he told me he was going to float me with the 2 overcards and backdoor nut flush draw. So maybe my only chance of winning this hand was pre-flop by going for a massive 5-bet. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Did I absolutely butcher that one, or was I just on the wrong end of some variance, getting hit with a massive cooler? I was up nearly $20,000, and because of that blunder, I'm up only $6,000 now. Crazy to say after losing a $24,000 pot that I'm still up money, but there's a term in poker called upstuck. And yeah, that's when you're up a ton of money and then you go down. You're still up money, but you're not at your peak and you're feeling pretty gross. But there's one way to cure that, and that's by picking up pocket aces, and I make it $125 to go. I'm trying to get back all that money, and I get 2 callers. We're off to a flop which comes 7-3 deuce, and Carlos leads out into me. We lose Slick Rick, I put in the call, and the turn now comes the 9 of diamonds. Carlos is over there in his purple suit honoring the late prince, and he finds another bet. I decide to put in the call once again, and the river comes the 3 of clubs. Carlos doesn't slow down. He fires out for 1K. He could have any of the 3 sets, so I just put in the call. We turns over 7-5 offsuit. I'm taking down a nearly $4,000 pot with the bullets. I gotta get back to $10,000 in profit in this session, and there's one way to do it, and that's by calling open raises with a suited ace-4. We're going heads up with Bookman to a flop, which comes gin, queen, jack, 3, bang, all hearts. We flop the nut flush, and Bookman fires out into this $400 pot for 3/4. Of course, I'm putting more chips in the middle. Should I raise? Should I just call? I don't want him to have any reason to fold, so I try not to set off any alarm bells by just putting in the call. The turn comes the 8 of diamonds, which really only brings in pocket 8s and 9-10. Pocket 8s doesn't make too much sense, so when Bookman checks it over to me, there's $1,000 in the middle, and I have to go for value. I bet out for Cinco de Mayo, $555. He has ace queen offsuit for top pair, top kicker. There's no way he can fold, surely, right? Wrong. So yeah, I kind of feel like I won the minimum there, but let's try to make some more money. In the last hand of the night, AKhh opens it up to $150 over my $50 straddle, and with the meme hand 7-6 offsuit, I decide to defend.
Maybe see if he can't hit AKhh with the 6-7.
And look at this flop. Bang, 10-7-6, bottom 2 pair for the kid here.
Oh my goodness. Hello, 6-7.
And AKhh fires out for $150 c-bet. I don't think about it for too long, and then raise him up to $500 with the old check raise, representing some 4-5s, maybe some 9 jacks for a gut shot. Of course, I can always have pocket 7s, 10s, 6s, or 6-7. AKhh puts in the call, and the turn comes the 9 of clubs. Nearly $1,400 in the middle, and I decide to go for another Cinco de Mayo bet, $555. He puts in the call, the river comes a brick, and this hand is just one giant meme, so why would I deviate from the $555 55. Once again, Esky, what are you gonna do? He puts in the call, and there's only one thing to do, and that's definitely not act classy.
Nah, there's the dance. Oh, no. Oh. Just when you thought the 6-7 dance was over, Wolfgang has brought it back, and then some. Esky's gonna get it on camera. Oh, man.
And that wraps up 2 massive sun runs here at TCH Live. I got out of the second session for $14,045, so a profit of $9,045. In those 2 sessions combined, I made $33,950 in 10 hours of play, or just under $3,400 an hour. There's 2 more videos on your screen right now. Click one of those to keep on watching. Good luck on the felt, you guys, and as always, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!